Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. My Adventures with Superman, the newest Adult Swim series, has officially premiered on the channel, and I just came off watching the first two episodes of this series and wanted to give you guys my thoughts on them and my first impressions on the series as a whole. As per usual with these types of videos, spoilers will be coming at a certain point, and I will let you know when spoilers are coming. But first, for my spoiler-free impressions on the series, I liked what I saw. I actually liked it a lot. I think that this show has a lot of potential, and it's showing us a very different take on Superman. It's showing us a much younger version of Superman than we've seen before on the animation side of things, and I just love some of the character interactions that we get, specifically with Lois and Superman, and just the vibes in general with this series. It's a very different type of show than coming off of something like Unicorn Warriors Eternal, and I think that's great from a variety perspective for the network for Adult Swim. With that all being said, we are now going to move into the spoiler section, so spoilers ahead, you have been warned. So My Adventures with Superman starts with a 2-episode premiere titled Adventures of a Normal Man, and in these 2 episodes we get the introduction into the world of My Adventures with Superman. We learn that Jimmy Olsen and Clark Kent are actually roommates and they're living together, starting out as interns at the Daily Planet. And on his way to his first day at his new job, Clark is going to get donuts, and we kind of see how he's not really in control of his powers. He doesn't know where his powers came from, and he doesn't know what he is really. We see him go to open a door, for example, and he accidentally breaks the door handle. He breaks his alarm clock in the morning. He broke the faucet. He's very much so not in tune with his powers and doesn't know how to control them and how to keep his strength at a minimum when he's doing small tasks like this. He goes into the deli and runs into Lois Lane, whom he doesn't know is going to be his new co-worker, as she's also an intern at the Daily Planet, and they have a little moment between the two of them where you can see that there is a level of attraction there and they both like each other. And he starts getting embarrassed when the owners of the deli start saying how he's, always breaking things and fixing things for them, and you can tell Lois is thinking, oh, he's a sweet guy, that's really nice of him. But then she gets a bib, the owner of the deli, and she puts it on Clark, saying he always manages to get the sprinkles all over him, and that's when the level of embarrassment kicks in. But Lois is kind of having fun with it, you can tell. Anyways, fast forward and they get to the Daily Planet and they realize, oh wow, we're working together, and Lois and Clark are like, oh, that's the guy or that's the girl that I saw before. I liked that person, and there's obviously a relationship developing there, as that is one of the main focal points of this series, along with the coming of age story of Superman. And long story short, they're now forming this new team together, the 3 of them, Jimmy Olsen, Clark Kent, and Lois Lane, where they want to find out what happened to these robots that were stolen. These robots were stolen from the army, and they want to find where they are and find where they're hidden, and their boss does not want them to touch this story and says that we can't touch this. This is not what you guys are here for. You're just here to make copies of papers and to get us coffee because you're interns and that's all you're here for. Of course, they don't listen to him, and they go to find the robots, and Lois and Jimmy are in trouble, and Clark's powers awaken. He saves the day, and they're like, who was that guy flying in the sky? We have to report this. They report it to the editor, and he's like, you gotta get me proof. I can't put this out there without visual proof that this Superman character exists. And that's the end of the first episode. And then we go into the second episode where it continues from there. They're trying to find where the bad guys went, and Clark Kent goes home to find out who he really is, and he learns of his real father and his real mother, who are from planet Krypton, which he doesn't know quite yet, but he sees all these visions of what happened in his past, and he's really trying to piece all of this together, while at the same time the bad guys end up getting in touch with the Black Ops team, or at least they say they're a Black Ops team, but at the end of the episode, once Superman saves the day, of course, they find out that this Black Ops team is really trying to hunt down this flying man, to hunt down Superman, and that's pretty much the entirety of these 2 episodes. The one thing I forgot to mention is they do get the proof in the second episode of Superman's existence, and they're going to run the story in the paper, but they're not crediting Lois, Clark, and Jimmy for the story. And all throughout this, you can see that there's a romantic tension building between Lois and Clark. They even have a moment in the apartment where the 2 of them are about to kiss, but then Jimmy Olsen pops up and he's like, oh guys, look at this, look at the story for tomorrow, we're not being credited for it. Overall, I really like this series. As I said before, it is very different from a tonal perspective from Unicorn Warriors Eternal, and that's just a breath of fresh air for me. I've said this before, but Cartoon Network as a whole, for the past decade, honestly, they've been putting out these same type of shows over and over again. Your Ben 10 reboots, your Powerpuff Girls reboot, your Teen Titans Go, which I know is Warner Brothers Animation, and this show is Warner Brothers Animation animation as well, actually, My Adventures with Superman. But my point is we've been getting all these comedies that are very tonally the same, and to see a show like Unicorn Warriors Eternal premiere and then a show like My Adventures with Superman premiere back to back, essentially, they're very different from a tonal perspective, very different from a visuals perspective as well, and it just gives me hope for the future of Warner Brothers Discovery, the animation side of things, because we're getting a variety so far, you know. And I know this show was greenlit, both of these series, by Warner Brothers, or rather Warner Media at the time, and Tom Asheen's group, all of them, so it is a different team that was, you know, greenlighting these shows as opposed to the current executives that are in place. But still, if we get more like this in the future, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future of Adult Swim and Cartoon Network has to offer. But as for the show itself, I really liked, like I said, the vibes they had going between Lois and Clark. A little prediction time, I think by the end of this first season, which by the way will consist of 10 episodes, I think that by the end of the 10th episode, Lois is going to find out that Clark is Superman, because their whole story seems to be, let's find out who this guy is, let's find out who this guy is. And I think at the end of this season, she's going to find out who he is, and she's probably going to keep it to herself because she likes him and doesn't want anything bad to happen to him. As for the other main character in the show, we have Jimmy Olsen, who I'm not gonna lie, throughout the first episode, I was like, alright, this character is a little bit annoying. He's clearly there for comic relief, but sometimes it's just too much in your face, in my opinion. I feel like he was better in the second episode, and I'm sure as this series progresses, I'll get more used to the character. That was the only criticism I really had of this show, and there were some slow moments throughout the first 2 episodes, but all in all, I felt that the pacing for the most part was there. It was good, and the narrative that they're telling is also good, and I'm really curious to see where this story goes from here, because like I said before, it's a very different take on Superman. I've said this when we saw the promotional images for it and the synopsis for it before this show even came out. You could tell it's going to be very different than what we've seen before in the Superman landscape, in the Superman world, and now that we've seen the first 2 episodes, we see that this is exactly the case. This is a different take on Superman, a different story that they're trying to tell, and I'm really curious to see where it goes from here. I'm curious to see what happens at the end of this 10 episode season, and hopefully we get more of this series and we get to learn more about this world over time, and this is the start of a new era of animation at Warner Brothers Discovery, this alongside with Unicorn Warriors Eternal. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. What did you guys think of the premiere of My Adventures with Superman? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.